As in, talk to us about top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
What success is and what is it?
Can you share a personal experience where you faced gender bias or unequal pay in your engineering career?
Where we were sitting in a meeting room, it was full of men, about 50 plus.
What are some common internal barriers you have observed among professional women, and how do these barriers impact their career growth?
Workplace is still new to women, although we think that we've been there for years, but that's not true.
Can you share some insights or stories about how you have helped clients transform from a state of mess to mastery?
I was recovering from a road accident. I was hanging upside down in a car for like 45 minutes.
Veena Sampathkumar is an automotive engineer turned growth and resilience coach, and she's on a mission to empower people to live to their fullest potential. And her unique ground up approach to coaching, where she helps people transform from within instead of relying on techniques, has helped several women accelerate professional and personal growth. And Veena brings together Eastern wisdom and Western pragmatism. And as we prepare to delve into our conversation on the topic at hand, from mess to mastery, empowering you with Veena Sampathkumar, here is an exciting twist. First, let us tickle her brain. So, Veena, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. We'll mention a
Sure.
few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. All right.
Yeah, ready for it.
I love the spirit and the energy, and let's get the ball rolling. Here comes the first word: curiosity,
Love,
aliens,
right here.
invention,
Merely rediscovering.
future,
Mystery,
confidence,
a thought.
resilience,
Innate,
empowerment,
rapid.
leadership,
Humanity,
growth,
sign of life.
and the last one is inspiration.
It's everywhere.
Wow, spot on. And thank you so much for closing the first rapid fire round so quickly. And there is one more rapid fire round toward the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And before I formally welcome you to the show, let me welcome the audience. So, folks, you have tuned into TGV, and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. And Veena, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I think what you said there as what you do is absolutely the reason why I wanted to be here in conversation with you. I love how you bring unsung heroes out in the open. Love it. Fully in support of your objective.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Naveen.
Thank you so much. And let's get the ball rolling. We'll begin with your success mantra. As in, talk to us about top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
Right. So success in itself, I think it's a debatable topic. What success is and what is it? So let's not get into that perhaps. But what has helped me navigate the ups and downs of life were the first thing is family, how closely and unconditionally they supported me has been the key part of it, like from parents to my husband and my brother and his family. So that's it. You need the network. The second is courage, right? Courage to me is not absence of fear. Courage is taking action despite the fear. So I felt fear, but despite that, I do things. And that's something that's helped me go through life. And probably that comes from a nagging sense, which is the third point, which is a nagging sense that I'm more than, what we see. There's more to me than what I realize. So I need to get deeper and deeper. And somewhere I go deep within and find that courage to navigate life. So those are my 3 things, if you like.
Amazing. And I love the third point, especially, right? I think that particular gut feel where we think we can do more than what we are today, right? So that is something differentiates you and you stand out from the crowd. And Veena, let's move ahead. And here comes my next one.
Mhm.
Can you share a personal experience where you faced gender bias or unequal pay in your engineering career, and especially explain to us how did you navigate that situation?
Mhm. I wish I could say I have never faced it, but that's not true. I have faced gender bias. Some of them have been rather subtle and well hidden, so you wouldn't be able to point out. But there was one particular experience that comes to mind where we were sitting in a meeting room. It was full of men, about 50 plus. Right? Most of them were quite experienced in the business and senior. They were not senior in the grading, but they had plenty of experience in the company. So I was sitting with them, and we were meant to come up with new training material. Each one came up with some idea, and none of them could agree with each other. Right. And at one point, a senior person looked at me and said, I don't even need this training material. At that time, I was a much younger engineer and I was the only woman of color. So we don't need this training material. I can do the training without this material. And I was thinking, dude, I can do it too because I've been trained by the world's best people in this area and I know what I'm doing. But that's not the point. We need to standardize it. And that's why we're here. And I literally put my hands on the table and said, there's just too much testosterone in this room. Okay. Cut it now. I literally said that
Mhm.
because I am not one to put up with it. Right.
Right.
You cannot bring this sort of behavior um, out in the open. This is not something I will tolerate. And that's how I deal with it. Where it has to be called, I would call out. And where it has to be a bit more subtle protest, I will do it that way. So I will choose the method, but I will not stay quiet.
Awesome. I think this resonates with the courage part that you mentioned as part of your success mantra, and I could relate to it so well. Very good, and glad that you shared this, and I'm sure it is going to inspire the audience for sure. And let's move ahead with my next one. What are some common internal barriers you have observed among professional women, and how do these barriers impact their career growth?
Right. I'm really pleased you asked this question because I've dedicated an entire module in my Growth Accelerator Blueprint program, which is especially for women to grow in professional and personal life. So there are two parts to the answers, right? One is the workplace as it stands, and workplace is still new to women. Although we think that we've been there for years, but that's not true. It's only after the World War that we had to go into the workforce because of the lack of enough resources, right, or
Right.
human manpower. So we didn't go into the higher ranks, and the workplace was built by men for men. And it remains that way. So what that means is men work long days and go back home, freshly prepared meal that's put on the table, and the children are well kept. And that is still the structure of the society, whether we like to admit it or not.
Yeah.
And we expect women to also fit into that same mold. But women have, I wouldn't say that these are specifically only unique women roles. Of course, men can pick up the burden of the family and all that. But given that's not how we've structured the society, we've not changed that yet, but we want women to fit in to these set of rules. So that's, I think, one of the first barriers that women face, right? And that's external. But there are so many internal barriers and self sabotaging, as I call them. One of the things is that most women tend to be perfectionists. They have to do things in a certain way, and until they are like that, it is not good enough. Right? So they keep perfecting and perfecting and perfecting. It can be exhausting. Another trait that women tend to have is that they are people pleasers, right? So they struggle to say no. And when that happens, you tend to take on more than what you can handle. And that then means you're burning out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The other aspect is the fear to be ambitious. If you are seen as an ambitious woman, if you're an ambitious man, that's okay. But if you're an ambitious woman, people see you as a threat. They see you as an arrogant person, right? So they are afraid to nurture their ambitions and express their ambitions and go after them. So these are some of internal barriers that we women tend to hold. And there are a number of other things which we can go into more detail, but I do that in the module, as I said. These are barriers that we have to break.
Yeah.
And they are glass ceilings we have built inside ourselves, not external, right? Once we break these, no one can stop us. We don't have to wait for the path to be paved.
Yeah. So I can relate to what you mentioned. Like if a woman is highly ambitious, they come across as arrogant and all. And this is the second time I'm hearing this month. And recently I was talking to one of my friends and who is at a director level, and that lady was talking about her problems and why she has to quit one of her previous organizations and all. So yeah, it is almost like the same story got repeated here. That is my feeling, and you have touched upon very valid points, and I think that has to change because we are in a really fast paced world, and things have to change over a period of time. And I hope
Yeah.
best days are yet to come. And so, Veena, in your opinion, what is missing in this modern day leadership that needs more attention?
Mm. So there are a number of, I have a long list, but I'll keep it short in the interest of time. If you look at the leaders that we still talk about, right, the Martin Luther Kings and the Mahatma Gandhis and all of them, one of the common factors that you will notice is that they had a shared vision. So
Hmm.
they had a vision which their followers shared, and they were willing to get them, put their arms around their followers and take them with them. But what is now happening is leaders or the so-called leaders don't tend to share their vision. They want to keep it to them because the credit also then comes to them. So the broad-minded view of, I am on this mission to accomplish this, and if it resonates with you, come join with me, is missing. This could potentially be because the leadership is often awarded to someone who is a very good individual contributor. And it's one thing to work great as an individual, another thing to take an army of people along with you. It doesn't even have to be an army, it can be one person that you take along, but the behavior is nevertheless the same. So, what we seem to be missing is the leader themselves have not mastered themselves, which also implies that they are so full of themselves, like, the ego as we know it. That is what is strong. The need to serve and all that has not quite kicked in, which is what I think is greatly missing, a shared vision and a humble person.
Yeah, got it. And while much focus is on what leaders should do, who do you believe leaders need to be to truly inspire and lead their teams effectively?
So there's, as you said, there are a lot of focus on what to do, stand like this, the body language, and be open, arms like this, and that is all fine. But how often have you stood in front of someone who does all these things right, but you don't feel the connection, you don't feel welcome, you don't feel like you want to work with them, there's something that's bothering you? It's down to who they are being, and who they're being in one part of their life is often who they're being in another part of their life. So if you are being an insensitive person in one area of your life, like you're at home, then you're likely to be insensitive at workplace as well. You cannot just flick a switch and become suddenly a very sensitive and approachable, amenable person at work. So who do you need to be? Again, this could be a long list, but I will keep to be compassionate, because you're dealing with people. Compassion is key. Be listening. And I'm specifically saying not doing listening, because that is a verb, that is an action that you do. Be the embodiment of listening. That is, you unconditionally listen to people. If leaders don't listen, they're not leading anymore. Be one who's devoted to serving. You're there to lead us to the shared vision. So you're there to serve. So don't forget, you have to be one that is devoted to serving. Be insightful, right? Instead of being instinctive, go after your instinct and yell and do all the bad behaviors. Be insightful and wait for your insights to come through. Wait for wisdom. Be one that has a clear vision. Know what you're doing, where you're going, where you're taking these people. Be generous, right? That is really important for a leader. One who's open to changes, flexibility, agility that we see in industries. It's really important rather than rigid in a way. So these are some of the being list that I have for leaders.
Yeah, amazing. I'm loving the insights, and let's move to the next one. And this is the core of today's topic. Like, can you share some insights or stories about how you have helped clients transform from a state of mess to mastery?
Absolutely. So I'll start off with the short story of how I came into this. Right. So
Okay.
I was recovering from a road accident. I was hanging upside down in a car for like 45 minutes. I skid on black ice. And when I was recovering, I didn't necessarily get any help from the NHS or the natural health system here. And I was just left at home in pain. So I had to figure out what I'm going to do. And I started going into a depression state because of the pain. I didn't know that it was because of the pain at that time. I was unclear how to handle that situation as well. So I found a private osteopath who helped me understand what the mind body connection is and helped me deal with pain as well. And help, he got me out of it, right? He was part of my journey out of that mess. But that is the point at which I decided that I want to do something in life similar to what he did to me. I want to change people's lives and do something fulfilling, not just fun. And when I decided, I said I'll become a coach. My first ever qualification in the coaching world was in neurolinguistic programming, the language of the mind and all that. And when I did that, what I found is it was really nice. It was interesting. It does work to a large extent. I appreciate that, but I did not want to be using techniques on people because that then means that they will keep coming back to me whenever they have a problem. And I didn't want that. I wanted to teach them how to fish. So I came across what's known as the three principles. It was popularized by Sydney Banks in recent times. It basically states that your life is created through your mind, your consciousness, and thoughts. All these three elements create your life. And what this gave me was the ancient wisdom that I grew up with, the Eastern philosophy that I grew up with. I can use that. I can put words to it and use that to help people. So it gave me that vocabulary. And that's when I started, that's what I started doing. So my coaching is grounded in what I would say the AAS principles or A2S principles. It's awareness, acceptance, and surrender.
Mhm.
In that order, I would say, because awareness is where you start. I'm aware of my thoughts, my emotions, what I'm going through. You accept them unconditionally. Even if you're going through jealousy, even if you're going through anger, you accept them unconditionally. Because once you start putting conditions, you're judging yourself, and that then stops any development. And then you surrender that, you let go, right? You surrender before you surrender to God. However you want to see it, you can see it, but you let go of it. And when you keep practicing this, I'm aware, accept, surrender, what happens is you start clearing the mess, right? And you do this more and more, and you go through this loop more and more. There's less and less mess in you, and you would have become a master of yourself. And most importantly, you would have mastered how to co create the life that you want. So that hopefully helps you see what I do in my coaching to help people move from mess to mastery.
Wow.
Does it help?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. That is so inspiring, actually. Like, you did not lose hope, and now you're standing tall, which is great. Like, I get inspired by people like you, right? Who never give up and who demonstrate that part of resilience, and now coaching others to be resilient and coaching others to unleash their power. Amazing. And here comes my next one. This is more on the qualities which you believe are essential for leaders to develop to be both effective and compassionate. What do you think are they?
So the qualities, right, they are what I call an emergent property, right? In a system. Because with the engineering background, you do certain things, and the system does as a result of that, right? And to me, that is really crucial because that approach works for humanity as well. As far as the leader is concerned, before we get into the quality, we need to make sure that they have done the inner work, right? As I said, someone who is so big in their ego, someone who's too big for their own will struggle to lead others. A leader who is insensitive, a leader who's unable to listen to others, a leader who is not willing to share their vision and the success and the credit with people cannot be a successful leader. So leadership starts at personal level, right? Personal leadership, as I say. And this is really important because I have my story and how I came out of my mess. They need to have come out of their mess, because if they are bleeding from their mess, they will be hurting us as a result of that. So the inner mastery, the inner work should have been done by leaders, and this is a prerequisite in my view. And I also think that this is one of the things that is missing in modern day leadership training, because they're assuming that this leader is already ready with all that, and they just have to go on and They have to empathize. Now you collaborate. Now you be agile. It doesn't work that way. It is a bit like getting rotten ingredients and trying to create a fantastic recipe. The recipe may be great, but when you have rotten ingredients, the output is going to be poor, right? So you need to work on that inner self first. So that's what I call personal mastery. This then paves way
Mhm.
to empathy, to holding space, to compassion, right? These can come as an emergent property. And then you don't have to do much work to be the leader that you want to be. I have what I've called a truly human exemplary leader. As long as you are in touch with your humanity, as long as you remember that you're leading a bunch of humans because they have blood and flesh, they're not just bums on seats, it is a no-brainer. I think it'll
Right.
come naturally, but you need to have healed. You need to have done your inner work. So that's what I think is important.
Amazing. I love the metaphor of these rotten ingredients, right? Those are not going to make a good dish, no matter how the recipe is. Wonderful. And this has been an incredible conversation so far. And it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. If you're ready, let's kick off the second rapid fire round.
Sure.
Okay, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
So the first line I will say, you matter. And I will say, I believe in you.
Wow, you matter, and then I believe in you. Superb. And what is your go-to stress relief activity?
I sit down with my kids and watch telly and just nonstop commenting.
And one book that has profoundly influenced you.
The Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, and a mantra that you live by.
There is divinity in me.
Awesome. There is divinity. Awesome. And a quality you admire most in a leader.
The willingness to serve.
Willingness to serve. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
God's child.
Here comes the last one. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you like to see or invent yourself?
Oh, maybe a time machine. Never thought about it. Yeah, that's what comes to mind, though.
And you want to travel to the past or future?
Past. I want to be a spectator to certain things,
Hmm.
not to change anything, but just get some new insights.
Amazing. Got it. And again, another spot on rapid fire round. And let's flip back to the mainstream. So, Veena, what message would you like to share with the women aspiring to become influential leaders in their fields?
So, firstly, I would say that although there are all these barriers out there are many people are willing to be allies and support as well. So it's not all bad outside. The second thing is you do not have to do it all on your own. Like you could, but it can take a long time and that can be frustrating. We have very limited time, especially women. As Indra Nui says, the body clock and the career clock are in conflict. We go through so much from the childbirth and then the menopause starts and then whatnot. So the hormones are not necessarily always for us, it's against us, but there are ways to beat these things, right? There are ways you can work with your nature, seek help, don't hesitate to get the help. And you should be the ones that initiate breaking the glass ceilings. It's not very good to just sit back and say, someday these things will change. When my daughter comes to work, these things will change. Be the change that you want to see in this world. And it is possible when you start working with others, collaborate with like minded people, go in for mentoring, go in for coaching, get the help, do the inner work. You heal, you get your mojo back, you understand how you can motivate yourself. Importantly, build resilience. Once you've done all that, let me tell you, leadership will come naturally to women. And I might be named a sexist for this or a feminist, whatever you want to call it. But the very fact that we are nurturers, right? We are natural nurturers. We are the mothers. You can't deny that, right? We are the mothers and we know how to bring that life up. Where do we get knowledge from? It's innate, right? It just comes through us from somewhere. That is essential for leadership. Why wouldn't you want your leader to be a nurturing person? And since you can do that naturally, it's the gap is really smaller than you think. There will be some polishing that is needed, but that again will happen as long as you do your foundational work, which is your inner mastery, personal mastery. Get on, do that. Don't hesitate. Don't hold yourself back.
Amazing. And I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you, and really great to hear all the insights directly from you. It's amazing. And before I let you go, how is your experience being hosted on TGV, the Guiding Voice podcast?
I think it's been really fun having this conversation, and it felt really natural to just engage in the conversation, maybe because of your genuine interest in taking these messages to the people, to the next generation, to people that are aspiring. I think that those are the people that you are really targeting, getting them the motivation and opportunity to inspire themselves, isn't it? So
Yep.
I love what you're doing, and as I said earlier, that is what brought me here. So it was an absolutely fantastic conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for having me here once again.
Pleasure to host you, Veena, and look forward to hosting you again. Definitely, we'll stay in touch, and I wish you all the best in everything that you do.
Thank you. Look forward to coming back. Thank
Yep.
you very much.
Superb. All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Veena Sampathkumar. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. If you have found the conversation useful and enjoyed it, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the guiding voice. So, spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment. So, today's trivia is about 3 lesser known facts about leadership evolution. First is about shift from autocratic to servant leadership. While traditional leadership models focused on top down authoritative approaches, a significant yet less discussed shift has been towards servant leadership. So, the model, which emphasizes leaders serving their teams, fostering a culture of trust, collaboration, empowerment, has gained traction for its effectiveness in enhancing team morale and productivity. It reflects an evolved understanding that leaders should prioritize the growth and well being of their team members. Second aspect is about integration of emotional intelligence, which is also called as EI. And EI has become a critical component of effective leadership, but its importance was not always recognized. The integration of EI into leadership development programs is a relatively recent evolution, highlighting the needs for leaders to be self aware, empathetic, and also adept at managing both their emotions and those of their team members. So, this shift underscores a broader recognition that technical skills alone are insufficient for effective leadership. And third is about rise of adaptive leadership. Adaptive leadership involves being flexible and responsive to changing environments and challenges. And it is a less known yet vital evolution in leadership theory. Unlike traditional leadership models that rely on established hierarchies and static strategies, adaptive leadership encourages leaders to embrace uncertainty, experiment with new approaches, and empower their teams to find innovative solutions. So, this approach has also become increasingly relevant in today's fast paced, ever changing global landscape. So, essentially, these aspects of leadership evolution highlight the dynamic nature of leadership and the continuous adaptation required to meet contemporary challenges effectively. So that's it from my side, from the trivia perspective. Likewise, if you're aware of any other principles related to leadership, or if you know someone who is a great leader and want me to host on this show, please let me know either through social media platforms, or you can also email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com, for as in digit 4, you as in letter U. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome community. Folks, do not hesitate to share your ideas, feedback, and also topic recommendations. You know the email address, which I have already mentioned. So let's create content that resonates with you. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that simplify and amplify your life's success. Until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care.